The sun was shining over the tall glass towers of Neo City, but something about the air felt tense. The streets were too quiet. Cameras floated in the sky. Metal drones flew above, watching everything. Darian, a calm black man in his 30s, walked slowly down the sidewalk. His eyes were sharp, but his face looked peaceful. He wore a dark coat and moved with quiet confidence. Beside him trotted Bolt, a sleek robotic dog made of smooth silver metal. Bolt didn't bark. He didn't need to. His eyes glowed softly, scanning the streets. He stayed close to Darian, step by step, loyal like a shadow. They were walking through Zone 9, a high-security part of the city where only certain people were allowed. Darian had the papers. He had every right to be there. Still, he knew eyes were watching. And then from behind came the loud clanking sound of steel feet. A cop drone, tall and dressed like a human officer, marched up quickly. His face was cold, with red eyes glowing under a helmet. His voice was sharp and loud. "Stop right there, citizen." Darian stopped. He turned slowly, not surprised. He raised his hands calmly. "I'm just walking. I have my clearance." The cop drone pointed at Bolt. "That unit is unauthorized. Tech pets are not allowed in this zone." Darian reached into his coat and pulled out a digital card. "Bolt is registered. Clearance updated this morning. Scan it." The cop looked at the card, scanned it. The result came up green. Still, the cop's tone became colder. "You match the description of a potential cyber threat. Stay still." Darian didn't move. His eyes narrowed slightly. "I've done nothing wrong. You have the scan. Let us go." People on the street were starting to watch. A few took out phones. A delivery bot stopped nearby and began recording. Bolt tilted his head. His sensors flashed red for a moment. He was reading the situation. The cop's energy signature was unstable. The cop stepped forward, hand on his weapon. "That machine beside you, it's not a pet, it's a weapon." Darian stayed calm. He didn't flinch. "No, he's mine. He's my friend." The cop shouted suddenly, "Step away from the unit." And before anyone could say another word, the cop fired. A blue energy beam shot straight into Bolt's chest. The robotic dog jolted, let out a strange, broken whine, and collapsed. Sparks flew. His silver body twitched once, and then went still. Gasps came from the people around. Someone shouted, "Why did you do that?" Another person yelled, "He had the papers. We saw them." But the cop didn't respond. He just stood there, weapon still raised. Darian dropped to his knees beside Bolt. His hands shook for a moment, but then they stopped. His face became cold, his eyes distant. He gently touched Bolt's metal head. "I'm sorry, old friend." He looked at the burned hole in Bolt's chest. Wires, circuits, and something else, something glowing deep inside. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black cube. He pressed it to Bolt's chest, right over the glowing part. Then, he leaned in and whispered, "Begin protocol white flame." The cube lit up. A soft pulse of light traveled through Bolt's body. His eyes flickered once, and then went dark. But above the city, far away in the sky, one of the surveillance satellites suddenly spun. A signal was sent, a hidden alert, invisible to normal eyes. Darian stood up slowly. The people around were whispering. Some were angry. Some were scared. The cop drone raised his voice again. "You are now under arrest for unauthorized tech transport and resisting enforcement." Darian didn't move. His voice was low, almost a whisper. "No, you just started something you can't stop." The ground beneath them gave a small rumble. High above, in a dark room filled with glowing screens, a phone began to ring. A man in a black suit picked it up. His eyes widened. "Sir, we have a white flame activation. Subject, Darian, Zone 9. But deep inside a black building under the Capitol, alarms were going off. Red lights blinked on walls. Silent men and women in suits ran between computers. Their faces were pale. White flame protocol had been triggered, something no one had seen in over 10 years. In a quiet glass office, a tall man in a dark suit stood still. He looked out over the city, not speaking. A small earpiece glowed on his collar. "Sir, it's real," said a voice through the earpiece. "Darian Knight is active." The man turned slowly. "Does the White House know?" "They just called." Direct line. The man didn't look surprised. "What did he say?" The voice replied, nervous. "He said, protect him, at all costs." Back on the street in Zone 9, Darian stood still. The dead remains of Bolt, his robotic dog, lay behind him. The drone cop still pointed its weapon, but now its stance was unsure. Its red eyes blinked faster. Something had changed. Darian wasn't afraid anymore. He wasn't even angry. He was just quiet. "Put your hands above your head," the cop barked again. Darian did nothing. Instead, he spoke in a low voice. "System override code, X Delta 09. The cop froze. His limbs locked. His head twitched like something had glitched. "Processing. Access level. Authorized." The crowd around gasped as the powerful cop drone dropped his weapon and stepped back. Units standing down, awaiting command. People whispered, "What just happened? Who is this guy?" But Darian didn't answer them. He looked down once more at Bolt. "You did well, buddy," he whispered. They had to believe it. He picked up the black cube from Bolt's chest, now glowing faint orange. He placed it in his coat. Then he turned and began to walk. Somewhere far away, in a large underground server room, files were unlocking. Screens showed a younger version of Darian in military uniform, standing beside robotic units. Another screen showed him shaking hands with the president, with a secret seal blurred in the background. Classified AVA9. DARIAN HNIHT. AI Strategic A device or status. Erased. Mission. Unknown. Clearance. White flame. As Darian walked through the city, things began to change. Street cameras turned away from him. Patrol drones blinked off. Even traffic lights paused as he passed. He pulled out a small comm tab and whispered, "Unit Alpha, report." A robotic voice replied, "Alpha active. Eyes on rooftop. Targets marked. Exit route ready." Darian stopped outside a small shop. The sign said, "Repairs and waffles." He knocked 3 times. Pause. 2 times. Then once. The door slid open. Inside was a tiny room filled with screens, parts, and old robot heads. A woman stood behind the counter. She was short, sharp-eyed, with oil-stained hands. She smiled when she saw him. "Well, well, look who's alive." Darian gave a small nod. "It's time, Mara. They killed Bolt." Mara's face fell. "Oh no, I knew this day would come. You used the code?" "Yes." She looked out the small window. A shadow passed across her face. Then the world's about to change again. She pressed a button behind the counter. A secret door slid open. Darian walked through without a word. Above them, in a military command ship hovering miles above the clouds, officers were watching satellite footage. One man leaned close to the screen. "That's Darian Knight? I thought he disappeared." Another replied, "He didn't disappear. He erased himself. After the War of Minds, he vanished off every system. Until now." The commander walked in. "Prepare, Black Team. He's not an enemy. He's an asset. And now the president wants him protected." Back in the hidden lab under the shop, Darian looked at a wall covered in old blueprints. Photos of dead cities, broken AI, lost experiments. Among them, one photo stood out, a group of people, smiling. Darian in the middle. Beside him, Bolt and a younger Mara. Above them, the name Project White Flame. Mara walked in behind him. "They're going to come for you now." Darian nodded. "Let them." He reached into his coat and pulled out the black cube. Bolt recorded everything. That cop, he wasn't acting alone. Mara narrowed her eyes. "You think they knew who you were?" "No," Darian replied. "That's the problem. Someone high up forgot." He placed the cube into a scanner. The room's lights turned blue. Let's remind them. The cube inside the scanner began to spin. Blue light filled the hidden lab. All machines hummed to life, and screens flashed with streams of data. Mara typed quickly. Her fingers moved like lightning. The footage is keen, she said. We have full audio and visuals of Bolt's death. Timestamp, coordinates, facial recognition on the cop drone's operator. Darian stood still, arms crossed. Send it. To who? Everyone. Mara blinked. Even the White House? Especially the White House. She hesitated, then pressed one key. In seconds, encrypted packages flew across secure lines. Files reached military systems, news drones, intelligence databases, and private devices, all marked with a blinking red logo. White flame. Eyes OPN. In a large, oval-shaped room under the Capitol, a secret meeting had just begun. 10 men and women in black suits sat around a round table. One chair remained empty. A small screen in the center of the table lit up. A robotic voice said, "Incoming. Code White Flame." All heads turned. Suddenly, the doors opened, and the president himself walked in. He looked tired, not weak, just heavy, like a man carrying history on his back. He sat down and stared at the screen. "He warned us this day would come," the president said quietly. "But we didn't listen." Back in the lab, Darian watched the screen flash again. Ping. Response from Office 1. Direct channel. Mara's eyes widened. "They're calling you. Now." Darian took a deep breath. He sat down, opened the call, and a face appeared on the screen. It was the president. For a moment, neither spoke. Then the president said, "Hello, Darian." "Long time," Darian replied. "You didn't have to use the protocol. They killed Bolt, on live feed, in front of people." "I saw," the president said. His voice was calm, but his jaw was tight. "We're launching an internal investigation. That drone shouldn't have been armed. Not on civilian patrol." Darian shook his head slowly. This wasn't a mistake. Someone gave the order, someone with clearance. "You think it was an inside job?" "I know it." The president nodded once, then leaned forward. "What do you want, Darian?" Darian looked straight at the screen. "I want names, I want answers, and I want protection for the people watching me right now." "We can do that," the president replied. "But Darian, please, don't start a war." Darian's eyes were cold. "I'm not starting anything." "Then what are you doing?" "I'm finishing what you all covered up." Meanwhile, across the city, news channels began to buzz. A mysterious video had leaked online, showing the AI cop drone shooting a peaceful robotic dog and a man whispering something before the drone froze. People started talking, commenting, sharing. Who is he? How did he control the cop? Is he ex-military? Why does the president know him? The video had gone viral in minutes. One child watching the video whispered to his mother, "He looks like a hero." His mother just stared at the screen and said, "He looks like someone who's tired of waiting." Back in the lab, Mara's face changed. Her screen showed a red alert. "Darian, we've got movement. Government teams. Coming fast." "How many?" 3 unmarked cars. 1 gunship above. "They're not here to help." Darian turned to the president on the call. "You lied." The president looked shocked. "I gave no orders." "Then someone's giving them under your nose." He closed the call without another word. Then he turned to Mara. "Get out. Now. Use tunnel route Delta. You remember?" "Of course I do. But what about you?" "I'll slow them down." Mara hesitated, then reached into a drawer. She handed him a small silver chip. "This is Bolt's last memory frame. His core AI might be useful." Darian took it and nodded. "Thank you." She hugged him fast, then ran to the back tunnel, disappearing into the dark. Outside, the street was empty, but the shadows moved. 3 black SUVs rolled to a stop. Men in armor stepped out, red visors, silenced rifles. One of them raised his hand. "Target inside. Orders are to capture, not kill." But before they could move, the lights on the street flickered, then burst. A low hum filled the air, and Darian stepped out of the shop. Alone, his coat blew in the wind. The chip in his hand lit up. "You're not taking me in," he said calmly. The lead soldier replied, "You're outnumbered." Darian smiled slightly. "No, you're out of time." Suddenly, the ground shook. A low, deep roar came from above. Everyone looked up. A sleek black aircraft hovered over the rooftops, a stealth model, long believed to be a myth. Painted on its side, PROGECT white flame. Darian tapped his earpiece. "Unit Alpha, drop package." From the ship, something fell, small, fast, and glowing. As it hit the ground, a wave of energy burst out. The soldiers fell to their knees, groaning, stunned. Darian stepped forward. The blast from the drop device had disabled all government soldiers. Their visors blinked red. Their weapons were fried. They lay on the ground, confused and stunned. Above them, the stealth ship hovered, silent as a ghost. Darian didn't run. He walked straight to the lead soldier. "Tell me who gave the order," Darian said calmly. The soldier groaned. His voice was weak. "We were told you were a threat to national systems. An old project, gone rogue." "What project?" Darian asked. "Project Eden. You were Subject Zero." Darian froze. He hadn't heard that name in years. Years ago, a young Darian sat inside a lab. Cold white walls, needles in his arm, screens blinking everywhere. Scientists whispered behind glass. One said, "This one, he connects with the tech emotionally. It's not just control, it's bonding." They had given him a code name, Subject Zero. His task? To create perfect sync between human and machine. He had passed every test, until he vanished, wiping his records and leaving with one prototype, Bolt. They thought he was gone forever. Now someone wanted that secret buried again. Back in the present, Darian stepped over the soldiers and walked into the lab again. Mara had left it dark, but one panel was glowing. He placed Bolt's memory chip into a reader. At first, only static. Then slowly, Bolt's voice came through, soft and digital. "Darian, if you're hearing this, I'm gone. But I saw something strange before they shut me down." The screen showed a shaky image. It was a room, high-tech, full of strange equipment. In the center was a large tube with a body inside. Not a machine, a child. Darian's eyes narrowed. "Bolt, what is this?" "They've made more. Like me. Like us," Bolt's voice said. "But they aren't free. They're locked inside new systems, used for war, tested on, even children." Darian's hand tightened on the table. Suddenly, the screen flickered again. Coordinates appeared. A hidden base in Sector 12, deep underground. The words on the screen read, "Next target, PROGCTGNESIS." Darian stood up. "They think this ends with you, Bolt. They don't know I'm still here." He grabbed his gear. EMP grenades, neural scramblers, a hidden blade. Then, he opened a locker. Inside was something wrapped in cloth. He unwrapped it slowly. It was Bolt's second frame, a secret prototype. Smaller, sleeker, faster. He placed the memory chip inside. The eyes blinked blue. The metal dog shook its head and then looked at Darian. Protocol rebooted. It said, "Bolt 2.0, online." Darian smiled for the first time in hours. "Good to have you back, buddy." Meanwhile, inside the White House, alarms were flashing in a secret room. The president slammed his fist on the desk. Who authorized the ambush on Darian? No one answered. Then a voice spoke from the shadows. It was a woman in a long black coat. Her eyes were cold, her voice like ice. "I did." The room fell silent. "He's dangerous," she continued. "We built him to control machines. But now he controls people." "You're from Genesis Division," the president said quietly. "I am Genesis," she replied. "And I won't let Subject Zero ruin everything we've built." Darian and Bolt 2.0 sped through the underground routes. They reached a hidden transport system, an old mag train tunnel. Darian connected a small power cell, and the train came alive. Destination set, Bolt said. Sector 12. Arrival in 32 minutes. Darian sat back. Time to end this. But as they traveled, a silent alarm pinged deep inside the Genesis base. A pale boy with cybernetic eyes opened his glowing blue eyelids. He whispered, "He's coming." 100 other children, locked in dreamlike sleep, stirred for the first time. One whispered back, "Maybe this time, we get to wake up." The train raced through dark tunnels. Sparks flew past the windows as Darian and Bolt 2.0 moved closer to the truth. Bolt's new body was sleek, silent, and fast. His eyes scanned constantly. Approaching target zone. Estimated arrival. 5 minutes, he said. Darian checked his gear one last time. Explosives, hacking tools, EMPs, everything ready. But this wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about freeing them, the children Bolt saw. Locked away, used like machines. "They thought I was the last experiment," Darian whispered. They lied. Deep below Sector 12, the Genesis facility came to life. Red lights turned on. Doors locked. A soft female voice spoke over the intercom. "Security alert. Subject 0 inbound. All units deploy." Hundreds of robotic soldiers lined up. But in the darkest part of the lab, the sleeping children began to stir. One of them, a girl with silver veins on her skin, opened her eyes. Her voice was shaky but sharp. "Is he real?" she asked. Another child nodded. "Bolt saw him. He's coming for us." "Then we fight," the girl said. "Not for them. For us." Darian and Bolt reached the surface above the facility. It looked like an old mining area, abandoned, dusty, forgotten. But Darian found the hidden door under the rocks. He placed his hand on the scanner. The lock clicked. "Let's wake the dead," he said. They dropped down a long shaft into the cold underground lab. As soon as they landed, alarms exploded. Metal shutters crashed down. Turrets aimed at them. Bolt leaped forward, deflecting lasers with his sleek armor. Darian ducked and tossed an EMP grenade. Boom! The hallway went dark. They ran deeper inside. Inside a control room, the woman in the black coat, Director Vale, watched closely. "He's better than we remembered," she said. Her assistant looked nervous. "Should we activate Project Omega?" Val shook her head. "No, let the children see him first. Let them remember who he was." She turned to the screen showing the sleeping test subjects. "Let them see the man who gave up on them and ran." Darian reached the chamber with the sleeping children. Rows of glass pods lined the room. Dozens of boys and girls. He placed his hand on the panel. The pods began to open, one by one. The children looked up at him, confused, scared. The silver-veined girl stood first. "You're Darian," she said. "Yes," he replied. "You were never supposed to end up here." "You left us," she whispered. "You escaped. We didn't." Darian's face dropped. "I thought they shut it down. I had no idea they restarted it. With you." She walked closer. "Then help us. Show us how to fight." Darian nodded. "Bolt, upload combat protocols. Let's give them their minds back." Bolt's eyes glowed as he sent new code through the room. The kids blinked, then stood taller, stronger. One by one, they began to speak. "System online. Energy stabilizing. Protocol. Freedom." Suddenly, the doors burst open. Director Val entered with soldiers. "Touching reunion," she said coldly. "They're not yours," Darian growled. "They never were. They are property of Genesis, designed for war, built for obedience." "Then explain why they're all aiming at you," he said. Val turned. The children had formed a circle, eyes glowing, hands raised. Each one held strange energy. Some controlled tech, others light, sound, even time itself. "You taught us to fight," the silver-veined girl said. "Now we fight for each other." Chaos exploded. Children use their powers to disable weapons, shut down drones, and protect each other. Darian and Bolt fought side by side with them. The lab shook. Sparks flew. Walls cracked. Val tried to escape, but the children blocked her path. "You kept us locked away," one child said. "Now it's your turn." Darian placed handcuffs on her wrists himself. "You built a prison," he told her. "Now meet your jailers." As the facility burned, the children followed Darian to the surface. Sunlight hit their faces for the first time. Some cried. Some smiled. But they were free. Bolt sat beside Darian. "What now?" he asked. Darian looked over the horizon. "Now we show the world what they did and who we are." The sky over the Genesis facility was filled with black smoke. News drones hovered overhead, recording everything. Darian stood in the center of the group, the children behind him, Val handcuffed at his feet, and Bolt at his side. He looked up at one of the cameras. "To every citizen watching this broadcast, the truth is no longer hidden." His voice was calm, but powerful. For years, Genesis used children, enhanced them, broke them, controlled them. These are not weapons. These are lives. And today they are free. Across the world, screens lit up. At home, at work, in classrooms, people froze. They saw the children. They saw the broken lab. They saw Bolt. And then they saw Darian's face, a man many thought had vanished years ago. A whistleblower. A ghost. Now, a leader. Inside the White House, red phones rang. The president's advisor rushed in. "Sir, it's him, Darian Winters, and Genesis has fallen." The president stood, stunned. He said the words, "Protocol White Flame. That means—" "Yes, sir," the advisor said. He activated the emergency failsafe. "It's public now. We can't cover this." Darian's voice continued, "Live across all networks. We demand justice. We demand every hidden Genesis site be shut down. And if the world won't act, then we will." The world could not ignore the truth anymore. People marched in the streets. They held signs. "Free the children. We stand with Darian. Shut Genesis down." World leaders gave press conferences. Some promised justice. Others begged for silence. But the people were done being silent. Meanwhile, inside a dark office, a man in a gray suit watched the broadcast. He turned off the screen and picked up a red phone. "Activate Omega Directive," he said. Darian's war just woke the others. On a hidden monitor, other labs lit up across the world. More children. More experiments. And one file marked, Project Voidwalker. Status: unstable. Back in the ruined Genesis lab, the children gathered around Darian. "Where do we go now?" one boy asked. Darian knelt beside him. "You go forward. You live. You learn. You decide who you are." Bolt sat beside the silver-veined girl. She smiled. "I dreamed of the sky," she whispered. Bolt looked up. "Then let's fly." The next day, Darian held a global press conference. The world waited to hear his final message. He looked into the camera. "We are not victims. We are not weapons. We are survivors. And now, we are the storm." As his words echoed around the globe, the children stood behind him, strong, silent, and free. The future had changed, and the world knew. Humanity had just been upgraded.